All right, you finna go ahead and get it rocking. What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the Life of a Champ podcast, episode number 105. For today's topic, an interesting topic, one of my favorite things to talk about. Almost criticized at this point, but definitely one of my favorite things to talk about. Definitely gonna go ahead and get into it right now. First things I want to say, I want you to go ahead and leave a like on my YouTube Shorts as well as leave a like on my TikTok as well. If you don't know what my TikTok is, it's just Life of a Champ podcast on TikTok. So make sure you go ahead and tap in with that. Other than that, yeah, I'll get into it right now. Give me 1 second. Yeah, so this topic right here is definitely a topic that I have brought up in the past, and it's another. It's a thing that I really want to hone in on frequently because there's so many flaws that I see within it, and I feel like not enough people are talking about it because there's still fucking problems all the damn time. So, not that I'm gonna be fixing all the problems, but I'm gonna give you some practical solutions to the flaws that I see within the dating marketplace, and I'm going to try to mention as many good points about the dating marketplace as I can, right? I do not believe that there is an overabundance of good things. Let's just say that, right? In the slightest sense, I don't think there's an overabundance of good things. But I do want to mention everything, and also if you guys have any opinions if you have any opinions regarding the dating marketplace in 2023, make sure to go and leave in the comments as well. Also, if you are watching this, make sure you go and leave in the comments as well, just so I can respond to it live. And if you're rewatching this, make sure you go ahead and leave in the comments as well. All right, so getting into it, right? The dating marketplace is definitely an interesting place right now. So a few things I want to say is if you're an older person watching this, so when I say older person, I'm gonna say 30 and above, which is probably gonna be a lot of you guys. One thing I want to say is when you guys were, let's just say in your twenties, the dating marketplace is absolutely completely different in every single way. There's a lot more factors that kind of go into dating and how to date, how to find somebody. There's a lot of things that go into that, and I feel like the older generation, right? They really don't have an exact sense of how much different it is, really, because they just never grew up in this time. Obviously, they could never know. They could never truly understand and fulfill that feeling unless they're dating at a later age, which is something that I probably wouldn't recommend unless you absolutely have to. But yeah, that's kind of how I want to start it, man. I just want to let you know that it's completely different than it was. Let's just say 5 years ago. Let's just say 10 years ago, and definitely way different than 15 years ago for damn sure, right? And I would say there has been some positive things, right? You get to be able to meet people that you wouldn't exactly meet, and you can reach out to people that you probably wouldn't be able to ever contact before. You would never even know existed. So that has been nice. I would say there's a lot more advantages to being a woman in the dating marketplace in 2023 than there are a man. I'll say that for sure. Unless you're a top tier man who has everything in order, right? Then they're obviously gonna get their pick of women. But if you are the average man, if you're the average man, you're probably not going to be doing great. Unless you're above average in a lot of different areas. Let's just say that. D, appreciate for stopping by, my guy. I want you to also let me know, man. What do you think about dating right now, man? What do you think about dating? Let me know for sure. So one thing I want to say, we'll get into this. We'll get into this, man. Let's dive right into it, man. So the dating in 2023, one of the biggest flaws that I see within dating is going to be people not looking in the right areas to find quality, right? They expect to find quality in some of the dumbest situations that I've ever seen, to say the least, right? So, for example, people look on dating apps to try to find a quality significant other. Absolutely stupid. Absolutely stupid. The dumbest shit that I've ever seen in person ever, right? People using dating apps and thinking they're going to get their way through a dating app, right? Of course, you hear those the happily ever after stories. Oh yeah, I found my husband on a dating app, right? That's one out of every, oh my god, dude. Like 2 or 300 women. Let's keep it 1,000, right? Most people on dating apps are well. First, dating apps in itself, I do not enjoy dating apps at all because one thing that I realize, and anybody watching this can pretty much see this, right? Two things, right? Women and men want different things on there for sure, right? And regardless of what they want, it's a superficial motive behind any of it, right? So, for example, right, men for the most part want sex. let's just keep it 1,000, right? Men want sex on dating apps. If you're a dating app and you're a man, you have no other choice but to superficially judge this woman based off of her looks and this small bio that she has and the small amount of personality that she can add within her pictures, right? It's as simple as that, right? So you're automatically looking at a very very superficial lens through a very superficial lens. Now, if you're a woman, and this is something that I've seen time and time again, you want attention and validation for the most part, right? You could say you want a relationship, you could say you want to go on dates and things like that, but ultimately, what you are getting from that app, if let's just say you aren't the most successful on a dating app, at the very least, you're getting attention and validation, right? I've heard plenty of stories of women where they're not feeling the best about themselves, maybe their confidence is a little bit low, and they decide to go on dating apps because they know they will have a lot of people saying, "Oh my God, you're so beautiful. Oh my God, this and this and this and this," right? And then it fills up their bucket of validation or the attention that they want, and then they feel good about themselves, right? And it's very stupid. It's very stupid. And also, one thing I want to mention as well, and like I said, that is a very very superficial sense. Another thing I want to mention as well is most people on dating apps are dudes in the first place, right? Most people on dating apps are dudes, so that kind of the demographic that it's kind of towards is a little bit fucked up. I'll say that it's definitely not 50-50. I want to say it's about what it's at least 60-40, if not 70-30, if not even worse than that, right, on dating apps. Another thing I want to mention as well, it's just like I said, you're not going to find quality on there. I'm sorry, you're not going to find quality. That person, that person's already trying to talk to many different people, and everybody's going to go about dating their own specific way. The way that I personally go about dating is if I'm talking to you, would not, I would expect loyalty straight out the gate, right? I wouldn't expect you to be talking to anybody else, and if you are, then I'm gone, honestly. And the only way that I can expect that is by being that myself, right? And that's another thing that I see within the dating marketplace as well. A lot of people have certain expectations that they place on the person that they're trying to date, but they're not exactly emulating exactly what that is. So how could you ever expect something from someone and not act in accordance to that yourself, right? I feel like that's also very very goofy. That's a very dumb way of looking at how you should go about dating, right? Saying, "Hey, I want this," and then you are acting the complete opposite of that, right? How are you ever going to vibrate on the same frequency that would attract those type of people? You're never going to be able to. So that in itself is also a very very foolish thing that I see within the dating marketplace as well. So another thing I want to mention as well, going back to my main point of people not looking in the right areas to find quality, is people still go out looking to try to find a good wholesome woman. That's the dumbest shit ever. Wholesome women are not going out to clubs. They're not. They're really not going to be in the mix like that. They're not going to be going to parties. It's going to be very very hard to find a high quality person at a party. I'm just going to let you know that right now. And when I say high quality, I'm not just saying I'm saying if you don't know what I mean by high quality, man, then you obviously have a problem. But I'm not just saying physically. Physical is such a small aspect, a super small aspect of dating in the first place, right? It gets you. It's something that you're obviously attracted to, but it's not the main course at all. It's not the main course at all. And I feel like a lot of people also, like I mentioned earlier, they have that superficial lens of dating where they think, oh yeah, I'm just dating the body. Like, no, you're dating the entire everything, all the baggage, everything. You're dating everything. And yeah, I just find it absolutely goofy sometimes. Like I said, people, oh yeah, I'm gonna go try to find I'm gonna go pick up this girl at the club. Like, you're gonna find out the hard way that she's not a quality. She's been going out. She's been sleeping around. Bunch of other shit, right? And especially with women, also you're not gonna find a quality husband material in the fucking club. You're just not. You're not. It's if you do, I'm not saying it's impossible, but I'm saying it's not. You're just not looking in the right area. You're not looking in the right area. It ain't even worth it until you yourself. Okay, I can see that point of view. I can see that point of view, but also you definitely need the experience. You need to taste what you like and what you don't like. You need to try out new things like that. People need to experiment. That's my thing. But I wouldn't say it's not worth it. Could you find quality? Yes. Is it hard to find quality? 100%, right? Um, but yeah, I feel like a lot of people that is a good stance. That is a good stance to take. He said it ain't even worth it until yourself. Okay, you are well established in you're a well established individual within society. I agree with that. I agree with that for sure. But to say that's not even worth it at all, I I don't know. It depends who you are. It depends who you are, I guess. Like I said, quality is not something that's easily found. But like I said, there is still quality people out there for sure. In a world filled with women who are less than quality and men that are less than quality, some of them are out there. You just got to believe that they're out there, and then you got to also be fucking quality yourself, right? Like I said, you can't expect something if you're not that, right? Yeah. So getting into it, another thing that I want to say, along with dating, another flaw that I see within the dating marketplace right now is going to be people lack people lack boundaries. They lack boundaries. They lack the communication overall about like establishing boundaries and things like that, right? And I have been a victim of this myself. I have been a victim of this myself, but not as much as I see other people, right? They get into problems about boundaries that they have set up in their mind, but they never communicate that with their partner, and then they expect their partner to act in accordance to exactly the way that they would like. When in reality, if you never establish your boundaries, if you never set your boundaries, then you should expect that person to step on some of them, right? I think that's pretty fair to say. So with that being said, let's just say you're a person that's dating right now. If you're not clear and upfront with your boundaries I would say near the beginning, then you have no other expectation. You should have no other expectation than for them to step on some of your boundaries, right? I think that's pretty self-explanatory, but people don't ever see it like that. So that is something that I do, and I try to make sure I do probably within the first 5 interactions with that person. If obviously the chemistry is good, so on and so forth. Then establishing and setting the boundaries, and also, um, and also, yeah, like I said, and also like I said, if they're not cool with some of the boundaries that you have set, then move on, right? Because here's the thing, nobody's trying to waste time out here. Nobody's trying to waste time out here at all, right? With that being said, if you want to save as much time as you possibly can, then I would say going about that and like I said, setting your boundaries early on. Like I said, first 5 to 7 interactions. Then yeah, like I said, move on and move forth. Come on, man. Come on, man. I ain't talking about jaw, man. Come on, now keep it on topic, man. You already know what time it is, man. I ain't responding to that shit. All right, come on now. Come on now. Nope, I ain't even reading that, KJ. Come on now. You know better than that. Another thing that I want to mention as well, another trend that I see within society when it comes to dating, right? People conflate these two things. They conflate standards and preferences, right? So what I mean by that is this. A preference is something that you would like to have, but it isn't exactly needed in order to be with that person. So for example, right? A preference that I have is going to be a woman who has red hair, right? That is a preference of mine, or blonde hair, right? Now, it isn't the standard that I hold all the women to, right? It is something that I prefer. Another thing that I prefer is a woman with colored eyes, right? Not just brown, like let's just say like green or like blue or something like that. That is a preference of mine. But I see people establishing that as their standard, and they're not even like giving people a look because they don't fulfill that. And they take into account all the superficial aspects of that and say, hey, if they don't fulfill this, then I'm not even dealing with you. So for example, I'll give you a perfect example that I see within today's society. And this is something that I don't have a problem with. I don't have a problem with, but a standard that I see that women place on men all the time is this height requirement. Oh yeah, if he's not 6 foot, then this and this and this, then I don't want to deal with him, whatever, right? But what you need to take into account is only like 12 or like 16% of the entire population is over 6 foot. So you already looking for a person who's already, I wouldn't say hard to find, but there's less of them out there. Then you take into account all the other aspects of what makes people attractive, and you also got to take into account the fact that you're competing with everybody else, with every other woman, right? And I feel like women they place that preference, and they make it a part of their standard, and then like I said, they can't even look another man's way. So there could be a man standing right in front of you that is of real cool, real good quality, but oh, he doesn't match up to this height requirement, so I can't deal with him. Like, what are we talking about? What are we talking about right now? Um, like I said, they just conflate standards and preferences, man. You got to understand what your preference is, and this is something that I would say, be very, very clear. Be very, very clear with yourself, right? What are you looking for? What are things that you prefer when it comes to your partner, right? Let's just say personality traits, physical traits, tendencies, things like that, right? What are things that you prefer, and what is the bare minimum? What is the standard, right? The standard that you will not compromise. Ask yourself that question and become very very clear with what that looks like. Because if you're not clear with what that looks like, then you might accept something less than what you're worth, right? And you definitely do not want to be accepting that over here for damn sure. With that being said, hold on, let me respond to comments. KJ, let me see, man. Hold up, man. What are some good conversation starters to talk to girls about when approaching them? Because right now I'm trying to get better at talking to them. Okay, so I'll give you a few because it kind of relates with dating. If I can give you a few tips, do not have too much setup lines, right? Do not try to pre-construct the interaction before it happens, right? I feel like a lot of men they get caught up in that, and then it kind of overwhelms them. One tip that I would say is pretty good, and I heard it from Hamza. Shout out to Hamza, by the way. Is when you feel like you want to, right? A lot of men are going to be they have this anxiety. They truly have this anxiety, right? Two things that I would say is one, make sure you control your breathing and open your body language up, right? Open your chest up because usually when you're feeling that anxious feeling about going up to a woman, right? Usually your body posture is not like it's like slouching over. You're not taking full breaths, right? It's very very short breaths. So I would say make sure your body posture is the way that it needs to. Make sure you're calming yourself down with your own breath. And another thing that I'm going to recommend, like I said, shout out to Hamza, is just go physically, do not even think about it, just walk up to them and just try to start this conversation, right? um I would say like I said, men overthink that, and they you don't you, it almost it's not particularly what you say, it's how you say it. That's really what it is the energy that you have when you say it, and is if she's responding to her, if she's responding to it or not, right? I feel like no matter, you could say something and mess up, but if your energy's right, the interaction can still go favorable, right? Or you can say the right thing. Let's just say, for example, you have a good conversation starter, and it doesn't even matter because she has a boyfriend anyways, right? So you wasted that on that, right? So I would say, yeah, it's not particularly what you say; it's how you say it. It's the demeanor you have. It's the confidence you have walking up, right? I feel like a lot of when it comes to a first interaction is just the confidence, man. It's just the confidence, right? It's the like I said, it's nothing more than just the energy that you can come with, right? And of course, that is something that's very very hard, but something that you're going to need to get past and I would say get over, and constantly confront, because that is something that I would say is worth constantly confronting until you find the woman that you're looking for sure. But yeah, like I said, just go up to them, walk over to them, right, and allow yourself for it to organically happen, right. And another thing is, men place women on pedestals way too fucking high, and that is another thing that I see within the dating marketplace in 2023, right? Men placing women on the highest pedestal that they possibly can see. And it's absolutely ridiculous because that person is a human being just like you are, right? They do all the same shit that you do, right? They breathe, they eat, whatever, right? They do everything you do. So, you need to take them off that pedestal because it's not realistic, right? It's not a realistic thing, right? That person has plenty of flaws. They might even have more flaws than you, right? They might even be less confident than you are, right? There's a lot of things that people that I would say men in particular, right? They just have a problem with going up to women for that reason. But like I said, you gotta bring yourself back down to earth, right? Take this person off the pedestal. Recognize that they're just a human being. They do all the same shit. They have their own flaws, and yeah, they're just trying to get to life just like you are. Another thing that I will say with the dating marketplace is something that I'm going to recommend to women. So if you're a woman watching this, I want you to go ahead and take this game. Make sure you are approaching men. If you see a man, if you're single, right, and you see a man that you're interested in, don't just fucking look at him. That shit's so stupid, bro. Don't just look at him. If you want that person in your life, go up there and get him. It's as simple as that. Go get it. Go get it. I don't understand why women have this. They have this big issue with not wanting to approach men, right? I don't understand it. Just go up there. The odds of you getting shot down is fucking like 10%. You have a 10% you have a 10% chance of getting shot down. Men have a fucking 90% chance of getting shot down. I would say most men have a 90% chance. Um, so with that being said, if you're a woman and you see a man that's attractive, go ahead and go up to him because Do you really have anything to lose? You can approach that man not, and he say no, right? Let's just say he says no, which would be crazy, which would be crazy in the first place without him coming up with an excuse. Oh, I have a girlfriend. Oh, this and this and this, right? You could just go up to another man that same day and have some success, right? That kind of goes hand in hand with men and women, right? There's no way you're gonna go 0 for 5, 0 for 6, right? There's no way. Hopefully not. You're gonna go 0 for 6. And if you're a woman, you're gonna be hitting at least. You should be shooting at least 50% from the field, at least. If I'm gonna be honest with you, right? Men, I cannot say the same for you, but the more you shoot, the more you make, man. It's as simple as that. Another question I have is why do girls always have the weirdest standards? Like saying I want a guy that makes $500,000 a year, even though, um, yeah, exactly. So yeah, you've probably seen that on like Fresh and Fit and things like that, right? So, women, a lot of women are not in touch with reality. Let's just say that when it comes to their dating standards, a lot of them are not in touch with reality, right? They don't understand how rare that person is. They want it because it sounds good, right? That's what they see. That's what they see on social media, so that's what they want. But yeah, I think it's absolutely goofy as well, right? Like I said, women expect a high quality person in their life, but yet not exactly acting what it takes to be high quality themselves, right? Which will attract a man that is like that, right? People don't think that deep. People will never think that deep. If you want to be a high quality, if you want a high quality person in your life, high quality woman, high quality man in your life, right? If you're not acting in accordance to exactly what that person would like, how the fuck are you ever going to expect that person to come into your life? So, for example, perfect example that I see all the time, right? Women think that they're going to be able to attract a high quality man by sleeping around. It's fucking not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. You're not even at the same you're not vibrating on the same frequency that the higher quality man is looking for. You're just not. And it's a harsh reality for some women, right? But here's the thing. It's reality nonetheless. It's a reality nonetheless. Like how are you going to expect to attract somebody that is of high quality, right? A top 10%, a top 1% man, but yet not be a top 10% woman, right? And of course, there's a lot of things that you can do as a woman. There's plenty of things that you can do as a woman besides your looks, right? It is more the energy that you have, right? The ways in which you carry yourself, right? That come along with obviously obviously beauty is definitely a huge contributing factor to what attracts a man, obviously. But with that being said, like if you're just not high quality yourself, right? And another thing that I want to mention, right, is figure out what the fuck those men want, right? Women don't ask men what they're attracted to. They just don't ask. They assume, and sometimes even those women they conflate what they view to be attractive in a man, and they say, "Hey, I want to be that because I think men will think that is attractive." So, for example, women will get high power career jobs, make a lot of money, and think that's going to attract a man. When in reality, it doesn't do anything, right? The more money you get as a man, or the more money you get as a woman, the lower amount of men that you're going to be able to attract, which is something that people don't recognize because most women, like I said, they date um, up and across dominance hierarchy. So with that being said, right, for the most part, a woman's gonna want a man that makes more money than her, right? And also, a man that men don't care. Men truly don't care if you even have a job. Quite frankly, right? If they got their shit together, they don't give a fuck if you got a job or not. They just don't care. So obviously, men and women are attracted to different things. The fact that I even need to say this is fucking ridiculous, but it's nonetheless, it's what I have to do. Men and women obviously attracted to different things, right? So if you're a woman, you want to attract a high quality man. Make sure you go ahead and ask a man that is of high quality. Hey, what do you want? What do you expect out of your partner? How can I be that? Right? And I say this time and time again, right? Men have always been constantly been trying to be what women want, right? But women are not being what men want nowadays. They're just not. They neglect that altogether. They don't even that doesn't even cross their mind for exactly what they need to be. It's ridiculous. It doesn't even like I said, it doesn't even cross their mind. It's absolutely ridiculous. But getting back into topic. I think I answered your question. Like I said, people have unrealistic dating standards. They just don't know, man. Be high quality if you're gonna attract high quality. Simple. One thing I want to mention as well with the dating marketplace is a trend that I see, and it's so prevalent. It's so prevalent. I'm sure you watching this, you can relate with this as well. There's a lot of acceptance with toxic behavior, right? Women will recognize that a man is toxic, and they will constantly still feed into that, right? They will constantly still want that attention and validation from that man, right? That is not a high quality, right? So if you see a woman that is attracted to those type of qualities, and let's just say you got to talking about past dating experience, and you seen them do some dumb shit that they shouldn't have been doing, that isn't of high quality. You need to question that woman. You need to question that woman, and if you should be with that woman truly, because like I said, I see it time and time again where women will tell me some crazy fucking story, like of a few women that I've talked to in the past, right? They'll be like, "Oh yeah, he cheated on me, and then I stayed," and I'm like, "Man, what the fuck is going on right now? What are you talking about? You stayed?" I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, that's a red flag. That's a red flag right there, right?" Um, Regardless of what anybody says, I'm not saying you should completely leave that woman, right? Some people are better than their past, right? Some people aren't, right? Try to, you need to assess that for your own self. But yeah, if a woman says, "Hey, I've been cheated on," or they'll say some shit like this, "Oh, I got cheated on, and then I cheated back." What the fuck are you talking about? What are you doing? What are you doing? Like I said, they accept that toxic behavior, and then they try to do it. One thing I want to mention as well with the dating marketplace, right? This goes with breakups. This goes with anything, right? If something happens to you, do not do something out of spite, right? Do not lower yourself down to a lower quality just because that person didn't do exactly what you wanted them to do. So for example, right, a lot of men will, they break up with their girlfriend and they go sleep around with a lot of other women, right? Obviously that's not going to do anything for you, but they do it anyways. For whatever reason, they do it anyways. But with that being said, I want you to know that, like I said, there's no way you're going to be able to get back at that woman, right? Don't stoop yourself down to that level in order to try to get back at that woman, because in reality it's not doing anything, right? So, like I said, don't accept these toxic behaviors, man. Like I said, if they're a person that you can see within their characters that they're truly over those past ways, that's one thing, right? But if you start to see certain tendencies and certain recurring habits with these people who are, accepting of toxic behaviors, then you must remove yourself, because, like I said, that is not a person. That is not a person of high quality. And around here, we only surround ourselves with the highest quality people, right? It's as simple as that, right? At the very least, you should be trying your best to try to surround yourself with the highest quality people you possibly can be with, right? Along with this, right, another thing that I see time and time again is, and this kind of goes hand in hand with the toxic behaviors, but people just allow too much games to be played, right, on both ends, right? Men play a lot of games, and women play a lot of games, right? This kind of goes, like I said, this goes for both for sure. Um, yeah, but if you're a person and you see somebody playing games, right? If you don't entertain that game, right? Even though it might be intriguing, sometimes it might be intriguing. It might catch your attention. It might get your emotions going, but just know deep down that it's not healthy. It's not fucking healthy, right? It's not as ideal as it should be, right? And if you have to play games, right? Play stupid games, win stupid prizes, right? That's exactly what I have to say to that. So if you're a person that wants to be above those games, right, you must not play any games yourself, right? And the second you start to see somebody playing games, cut that shit off right there. Cut that shit off. I would say first, the way I go about it is this, right? Saying, hey, I don't play any games, and I'm not going to accept to be any games to be played on me. So either you quit your shit, or I'm done, and I'm gone. I'm moving on, right? And if they snap out of it, they snap out of it. And if they don't, then you move on, right? And at the end of the day, you didn't lose anything at all, because they're playing games anyway. So, like I said, a lot of people are just too accepting. They're too accepting of the toxic behaviors. They're too accepting of the games because it's entertaining, right? It's intriguing. And one thing I want to say as well is you must understand this, and this is something that I see also within dating that I didn't mention yet. If you're a person who is attracted, you can kind of see yourself being attracted to certain tendencies that a toxic person would have. You must correct yourself, and you must override the system. You must override the system truly. And it sounds kind of goofy to say it like that, but yes, you must override the system. So for example, let's just say a woman texts you like once or twice a week, or she'll text you waiting hours and hours and hours in between texts, even though she's on her phone fucking damn near more than half the day. Um, Even though that might be intriguing, that might spike your emotions and things like that, just know deep down that that is not something worth having. It's not something worth having at all, right? It is not exactly what you want, and people they get so caught up with that and thinking that's normal. It's not fucking normal at all. It's not. And yeah, with that being said, if it's not normal and if it's not something that you want from the person that you're trying to talk to, you must immediately get rid of that, right? If it doesn't come natural, if it doesn't come easy, then it's probably not worth something. It's not something worth pursuing. Truly, it's not. So get past that, and hopefully, you'll do better. You'll do better. Another thing I want to mention as well with the dating in 2023 is something that I've seen, and this is something that I see everybody having to an extent, but I would say how you go about this is definitely going to be interesting for sure. So this is going to be having past trauma within dating, right? It's a tough pill to swallow. It's a very, very tough pill to swallow, right? Out here, there's a lot of damaged people, to say the very least, right? There's a lot of damaged people, right? A lot of damaged women, a lot of damaged men, a lot of damaged men that have had women do all types of unspeakable things to them, right? A lot of women who have settled for men that are less than the bare minimum, right? And it's something that takes a toll because it can affect the way that they perceive dating in moving on, right? So, for example, this is something that I've seen time and time again with women, right? Is they'll be ultra, and I don't use this word at all, right? They'll be ultra independent, right? They'll be completely not reliant on a man, completely resistant to the idea of a man even trying to help them or pay for anything for them, right? Because of ways in which the man before you or before that person, um, chose to lead, right? A lot of men, yeah, a lot of women hate women, or okay, a lot of women hate men that try to lead the interaction or try to verbally lead the interaction, right? And it's because they have never had a good representation of what solid masculinity looks like, right? So the second they see any certain tendency that they've seen that didn't work in the past because a man didn't exactly know exactly how to lead, they'll be resistant. They'll be resistant to just straight off the gate, right? Even if you are a good leader, right? It doesn't matter how good of a leader you are. If the woman has dealt with men that are not good leaders, and it's hard for her to differentiate a good leader from a dictator, right? Let's just say that's the way I would describe it, right? Because that's kind of how they see it. Um, then it might not even be worth having. Truly, it's not. And that is, like I said, that is a hard pill to swallow. That is a hard pill to swallow because it's just damaged goods. It's truly damaged goods, right? There's a lot of people out here damaged goods, man. Um, Sucks, man. It sucks, but I've seen it time and time again. I've seen it time and time again within my own experiences, and I'm sure you watching this, I'm sure you could see that within your own experiences, right? Certain tendencies that are healthy, and you try to establish healthy boundaries, healthy ways of being, and anything that remotely looks similar to a past situation that didn't work out, even if you're coming at it from the most healthy way possible, they still might perceive it in a way that is less than healthy, right? Then you got to break the mold. You got to reconstruct the entire programming of the way that person sees dating and sees the other gender and things like that, right? I've seen it time and time again. It's absolutely poor, but nonetheless, it is something that's interesting and definitely is something very, very prevalent within dating in 2023 for sure. Like I said, if you're watching this, make sure you go ahead and leave a comment just like I see who's in here. Also, if there's anything that you want to mention regarding dating in 2023, I want you to go ahead and leave it in the comments because I can read the comments live, man. It's trial and error and the things. Yeah, exactly. Kato, you're exactly right, man. You're exactly right. Um, which brings me to my next point, man. There's something that I see time and time again within dating is people are I wouldn't say intentionless. Um, yeah, but it's not deep. Their want for another person in their life isn't deep. It is not deep at all, right? A lot of people just want people for the time being, right? And they have that very, very superficial motive of dating in general. Oh yeah, this person will last. Maybe I'll spend a few months with them and then they'll be done, right? To have that in your mind is already putting yourself in a very, very poor position because you're not training yourself properly to sustain a long-term relationship. And most people's ideal is going to be a long-term relationship. But if you're constantly not training yourself to seek for a long-term relationship, then you're basically training yourself wrong. You're basically training yourself wrong unconsciously, right? like I say, people do not date with intentions, right? For me, for example, right, the woman that I want in my life that I'm dating, right? I want to see something truly worth potentially getting married, right? I would say, and that's a it's especially at my young of an age, right? Some people will say that's absolutely foolish, right? And the odds of it happening is very, very low, and I completely agree and completely understand it for sure. But if you're not dating with that type of intention, then I just don't know what you're doing, right? What are you looking for? Are you just looking for an experience? Like, and if you're looking for an experience, that's one thing, right? If you're dating for marriage and it becomes an experience, right, something you learn from, it doesn't last. Okay, that's one thing. But to just be dating for the experience alone is like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you're wasting. I wouldn't say you're particularly wasting your time, but your intention is wasting your time. Pretty much, your intention is wasting your time, and that is definitely not a healthy thing that I see within society as well. People are just so they're too casual. They're too casual with this shit. They're just it's like I said, it's not meaningful. It's not meaningful at all. It's very, very superficial, man. Like I keep saying that word over and over again, but that's exactly the way that it is. That's exactly the way that I see it all the time. It's very, very superficial. It's very, very like I said, it doesn't take a lot of thought. There's no thought behind it, actually. There's no thought behind it at all. Um yeah, and I'm gonna kind of get back to this point, man, because I find this interesting, man. This kind of goes hand in hand with some of the things that I mentioned, right? It's interesting to view people and how they conform to societal norms and never question the depth or the negative consequences. So, for example, things like hookup culture, right? This is something that's obviously very, very prevalent within the dating marketplace in 2023. People never question the negative aspects. They just get that quick high and they just move on, right? They just, oh yeah, this is completely acceptable. I see a lot of people doing it, so it must be good. No, it's fucking not. It's not. I don't understand why people don't question that. People don't question, hey, okay, so this is a trend that I see. Now, do I see any people that are truly in a position that I want to be in when it comes to them choosing this action? If not, okay, what are they doing wrong and how can I change that? There's just no fucking thought. There's no thought at all that I see. No deep thought that I see often. Um, Yeah, and I find that absolutely poor, man. So like I said, hookup culture is the perfect example, right? People do not even think. They don't think deep at all. They want to think that like things like I said, hooking up is something that is meaningful, but in reality, they're just giving it out to whoever wants it, right? To whoever pursues you for fucking a few hours, you're gonna go ahead and give it up. Like it's ridiculous, right? Whether you're a man or whether you're a woman, right? That should be something that's sacred, right? And this is something that I'll mention and something that I didn't exactly always have this opinion, especially when I started this podcast, but after spending a lot of time thinking about that, and analyzing the negative consequences of the actions that I see that has been a societal norm, I recognize that is not something that's truly healthy, man. That is not something that's truly healthy. So if you're hearing this for the first time, or if you're hearing me say this over and over again, um, understand the importance of that. Understand the importance of that, right? Now, is it something that is entertaining for the time being? It is entertaining for the time being, but is it something that is worth having? Truly, it's not. It's not, it's truly not. So yeah, give me one second. Give me one second. All right. All right. Give me one second. All right. Next thing I want to talk about is this interesting trend. I wouldn't say this is particularly well. This kind of goes hand in hand with dating, but something that I see time and time again. And the last few women that I have talked to, um, not like dating or anything like that. Just some women that I have talked to in the past. This is a recent trend that I've seen, and I find it interesting because there's a lacking paradigm. There's truly a lacking paradigm, and I don't think women they just get so consumed with whatever social media tells them that they just say, "Hey, that is the way it is." Right? It's so stupid. Um, but this is an interesting trend of younger women not wanting kids. Right? That's crazy, right? If you're a younger woman watching this, right, and you don't want kids, good luck finding a man that doesn't want kids. I'm sorry, right? Now, is there men out there that don't want kids? Of course there is, right? Of course there is. There's plenty. I wouldn't say plenty of men that don't want kids. There's men out there. They're definitely the minority that don't want kids. Sure. Good luck finding them. Good luck finding them. Good luck finding them and them being exactly what you want in a man, right? A certain height, a certain look, right? Certain morals and things like that, right? good luck finding a man that's not going to want to have kids, right? Most men understand. They understand thoroughly that they want kids. Most men want kids. I would say 90, at least 95% of men want kids. If they find a quality woman and they want to settle down, they want to have kids, right? Most men are not saying, "Hey, you know what? I would just like to travel the world, and when I get old, I'm gonna have nobody take care of me." Most men don't think like that. Most men don't think like that. And also, for whatever reason, most women that have that same paradigm of not wanting kids, they just don't fucking think deeper than their current situation. They're so caught up, and I say younger women, right? Because usually middle-aged women, and I say middle-aged women, I'm not, well, let me go back. Younger women, I would say, once you get over like 26, 27, as a woman, um, you start to realize that your ability to have kids, is slowly fading away, right? And of course, you can probably last up until your like 30s or something like that, mid 30s, maybe late 30s, right? If you're lucky. Um, but I just find it interesting. I just find it interesting because, like I said, I've talked to women. They're like, "Oh yeah, I really don't want to have kids. I'd rather adopt and things like that." And of course, I'm not against the idea of adopting kids. I'm definitely not against it. But I definitely would like to have, and just like most men, would like to have kids of their own. So, like I said, it's good luck finding a man that's not gonna want to have kids, man. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. And also, another thing that I've seen, and this is not exactly dating, but this is just something that I thought worth mentioning because it's definitely similar to that. And this is kind of the input that these women are getting that come to the conclusion that they don't want to have kids. Is I see a lot of people bashing the idea of having children, right? And that's so crazy, by the way. Um, and of course, there's a lot of factors that go into it that are not obviously mentioned. So some of the things that people never take into account is obviously a lot of women have a baby with a man that is not of high quality. So therefore, their entire perception and their entire life becomes a struggle because they didn't choose a man that is of high quality, right? And then they'll bash the idea of having kids because they regret having kids because they chose a man that isn't of high quality, right? But I rarely see a woman who's been put in an ideal situation, has kids, and says, "You know what, man? I wish I didn't have kids." I rarely see that. And if you're a person that is striving for an ideal that is worth having, um, just know that having kids is one of the most wonderful things that you can possibly do in this life, right? A lot of people, like I said, if you're a person out here bashing people that have kids, man, I do not know what the fuck you're doing. You're wasting your time, man, woman, whatever you're doing. You're just wasting people's time, man. Uh, Keep that opinion to yourself, man. If that's the way you want to live life, all right, that's the way you want to live life. Don't convince other people to not have kids, right? Especially when I think I heard this the other day, right? Within the next 10 years, in 2030, they said we're gonna have the lowest amount first fertility rate, and then people actually having kids, right? That's gonna go down drastically, and that kind of goes because that kind of goes because of the dating marketplace and the way it's set up, and the tendencies that people have, and all the shit that I mentioned, right, are going to be leading factors to why people have less kids and things like that. So that's interesting. That's interesting to say the least. Moving on from there. Yeah, one thing I want to mention as well is people they just lack the ability to clearly state exactly what they want and don't want. People are not clear with what they want. People are not clear with their bare minimum, right? A lot of women that I've talked to, they just they sometimes they accept the bare minimum, or they a man is really good in this aspect, but he struggles really really bad in this aspect. Yet they'll still want that. They'll still want that person, even though that person is not even giving them the bare minimum of what they deserve or what they think they deserve, right? Like I said, I've seen it time and time again. I don't understand why women or men even settle for less than the bare minimum, right? If your woman is not being exactly what you want her to be, or at least doing the bare minimum, then you need to leave her, right? This kind of goes hand in hand with my opinion on women as well, right? If the man is not, did I say man or woman? Yeah, if your woman or man is not doing the bare minimum, then you must move on and find a person that is going to do the bare minimum and not complain about it, right? And not to have any problem with expecting that, right? So I don't understand why um, people are accepting of that, right? They get emotionally attached, but then their logic goes out the window, right? And obviously that's a victim. That's just being a victim of your emotions and everything like that. But you must understand exactly where you are. Understand where you are. Understand your situation that you're in, and understand that if it's not exactly what you want, there's going to be plenty of people that can give you that without even giving you any hassle or anything like that, with giving you above and beyond that, right? So, like I said, don't be out here settling for less than the bare minimum. Don't be out here settling for less than what you're worth, man. Man, that goes to men and women, right? Don't be doing that because, like I said, that you're worth more than that. You're worth more than that for damn sure. Give me 1 second. All right, all right. So getting into the next point, like I said, I want to know your guys' opinions on dating, right? So I'll give you guys a few more minutes. I'll go ahead and end this podcast off here in a few minutes. I want to know your guys' take. This is going to be something that I will probably visit every, let's just say like 40, 50 episodes. I definitely want to talk about this because this is one of my favorite topics to talk about. Because it is something that I'm in, and I get to see a lot of these certain things, and I get to hear people talk about certain things, and I just find it interesting. If you're a person that also finds this interesting, make sure to go and leave a like on the video. Also subscribe if you are new, or leave me a follow if you're watching on Twitch as well. Give me 1 second. All right. What was I going to say? Had something to say. Come on, think, champ, think. Yeah, one thing I want to mention as well is I'm going to be streaming a lot more now. I'm gonna try to lean into being a little bit more of a streamer. So make sure you tap in with that. Also, like I said, this is a big month for me. I'm gonna be having the merch out here soon. I know I've been saying that for a few months now, but trust me, shirts are on the way. So if you do want one, make sure you go ahead and send me a text or just DM me. Leave it in the comments, whatever. If you want a shirt, I definitely want to be getting those out very very soon for sure. But yeah, give me 1 second. Yeah, I had something else to say. I had something else to say when it comes to dating. Man, I fucking forgot. Yeah, all I want to say is, like I said, it's just something I'm gonna be talking about every so often. Oh yeah, one thing I want to mention. This is what it was. Is with me saying all these negative things about dating and the dating marketplace, and me observing all these things, right? I have been fortunate enough to find very, very quality women, right? In a world filled with younger women that are not of high quality, I have found gems. So, like I said, to say that they're not out there is bullshit. Is absolutely bullshit, right? They're out there. The way you vet women, right, or men in general, is going to be very, very important, right? Asking the right questions is important, right? I stress that on this podcast time and time again, right? Asking the right questions to yourself and asking the right questions to the people that you want in your life, right? So with that being said, they're out there. Be high quality if you want high quality, and more importantly, yeah, do what you got to do, man. Do what you got to do in order to, you know, get past all people that are less than quality, right? Learn. I'm gonna not say learn to disqualify, but learn to, like I said, pick up on the tendencies that you see when people are not being what you want, right? That is something that I've been very, very good at doing, and like I said, just not getting caught up in the mix too early on, man. Letting it ride out, filling things out, and then like I said, making your decision, right? Do not rush into anything too quick. Like I said, be high quality if you want high quality. That's something that's gonna be my main piece of advice for today. Because I have been a person who's been doing exactly what I need to do in my life or what I feel like I need to do in this current moment. And then, with that being said, I have been able to attract people of higher quality, especially when observing society, right? I've been able to attract people who are of higher quality, right? So, like I said, they're out there. Make sure you take the time and be high quality yourself, and then high quality will be given to you for sure. I appreciate that, my man. I appreciate that. Yeah, exactly. Just go with the flow, man. Like I said, people overthink it, man. Don't overthink it, man. But other than that, I appreciate everyone for stopping by. If you are rewatching this, or if you're watching this, not live, make sure you go and leave a comment. A few things I want to mention as well. A few things. Like I said, make sure you go ahead and leave a like on my YouTube Shorts, as well as follow me on TikTok, just Life of a Champ Podcast on TikTok. I'm going to be posting more clips here very, very soon. Other than that, this was Life of a Champ Podcast, episode number 105, talking about the dating in 2023. Um, yeah, exactly. Go ahead, KJ. You already know what time it is, man. Other than that, fellas, I appreciate everyone for stopping by. Like I said, make sure you go and leave a like on this video if you did appreciate it, or if you took anything from this. Make sure you go and leave a comment, man. Do all that type of stuff, man. Post notifications, everything, man. Turn it on, man. Next podcast is going to be on Thursday. I will be streaming later this week as well, so make sure you go to tap in for that. I'm just gonna be listening to music, just chopping it up with the people. But other than that, I'll leave you guys off with the podcast motto. Fellas out here, man, we don't just work around here, man. We outwork. So make sure y'all working these motherfuckers every single day. Don't skip a day because, quite frankly, the people you going up against are not. So, like I said, outwork these motherfuckers. Podcast on Thursday. Tap in with that for sure. And other than that, like I said, the last piece of game. If you want high quality people in your life, you must become high quality yourself. It's simple as that, man. Y'all have a good rest of your night. And like I said, stay tuned for Thursday, man.